I got two things to compare it to. First, I have to tell you this is my opinion. I'm not an attorney, blah, blah, blah. You never know. Because let me tell you, there's people in that building that are hunting for me. They tried to get me arrested. I got dragged out by 3 cops, and when they cleared it up, they found out that it wasn't me, it was them, and they let me back in, and those people were furious, okay? But here's what's happening. First of all, to put it into perspective, here in downtown Detroit, they're only counting the absentee ballots. Another name for absentee is mail-in ballot. So everybody in the city of Detroit who votes by ballot, which is called absentee ballot, they mail in their ballot. Of course, it could be done on the last day, right? And there's about 140,000 absentee ballots, mail-in ballots that were mailed in. They all come to location, and they're on location, and they're verified. Step one is they verify that ballot is legitimate. And after that, the system is great. It counts it, and rarely is there a problem. It all hinges on, is that a legitimate ballot? And down here, I witnessed with my own eyes, I haven't even eaten, it's been 12 hours. I witnessed how it's not. And here's how. Now, yesterday, I was part of the team that counted all the absentee ballots for the city of Royal Oak. Guess how many absentee ballots, mail-in ballots for the city of Royal Oak? I could tell you exactly. It was 25,755. And I got a printout of all of it. How many ballots were bad out of that 25,755 in Royal Oak? All of it. How many ballots were bad out of that 25,755 in Royal Oak? This many. Exactly 10. One of them, I could tell you the reason it was bad. They mailed in their absentee ballot and there was no ballot in it. So do you think that ballot should be counted? No, it shouldn't. Why? Because there wasn't even it was a bad, and there was only 10 out of 25,755. Just to put things into perspective, how many are bad here in Detroit? Out of the 140,000, at least 8,000. At least 8,000 ballots could not be verified. They couldn't be verified. Here you got a name and you can't verify it. It's not on the electronic log. It's not on the paper log. But they just run it through and they count it. And it's not verified. In Royal Oak yesterday, it was 10 ballots could not be verified. They couldn't be verified. Here you got a name and you can't verify it. It's not on the electronic log. It's not on the paper log. But they just run it through and they count it. And it's not verified. In Royal Oak yesterday, it was 10. Here in Detroit, we're looking at 8,000. The error rate in Royal Oak was 0.04%. If you do 10 out of 25,755, that's 0.0388. Here in Detroit, we're looking at 8%. Do you think 8% could have an effect on an election? Yeah. And so what specifically is happening? So I voted mail-in, probably like a lot of you. Apparently 70% of the country voted by mail-in. And when you mail it in, it's mailed to me, Chris Shornack, and I'm given a, yeah. And so what specifically is happening? So I voted mail-in, probably like a lot of you. Apparently 70% of the country voted by mail-in. And when you mail it in, it's mailed to me, Chris Shornack, and I'm in a precinct number, and I'll get ballot, say, 758. So there's an electronic record. It's in the voter book that when Chris Shornack's ballot comes in, it should be 758. And all the election workers the paid election workers are getting paid $600 each down here. In Royal Oak, they're paid $250. All the election person does here at the table is they go, oh, look, here's Chris Shornack's ballot. Let's check it on the computer and make sure it's the right number. 768, good. Count that ballot. And then the process goes really. Watched it with my own eyes down here. that didn't happen. They would still count that vote. That's called ballot harvesting. That's called an invalid vote. And that, I hope I explained that well, is the voter fraud that's happening here in Detroit. It's crazy. It's insane. So each counting board, there's 140 counting boards in there. Really, I think there's 138. So don't say, oh, Chris, you're wrong. There's only 138 and there's 140. I'm trying to make the numbers easy and comprehensible to understand, like, how is it happening? By the way, when I say 8%, that's just like on the low end. That's what I observed, because whenever we would, us poll challengers, we would try to challenge that vote. I've never been treated so bad. They just make up lies. What, two ladies said, he threatened me. He threatened to shoot me. He threatened to shoot me. And here's what I said. I'm standing there saying, hey, lady said, he threatened me. He threatened to shoot me. He threatened to shoot me. And here's what I said. I'm standing there saying, hey, that ballot doesn't match, and I would like to challenge that ballot. And it's real easy to challenge. All they do is they put a electronic note. They go click on the computer and they go, this ballot is being challenged as not valid. That's it. This ballot is being challenged as invalid. And then I write it up and I turn in my form, and they've got it in their computer system. They refused to do that. They refused to do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't refuse to do that. And we're not picking on the poll workers. They're just doing their job. They're just doing their job. And listen, there's going to be a very small percent come in that need to be rectified and finished, but ultimately some of them aren't good enough and can't make it. So these lady goes, she goes, well, I say